Hello, give me 1 second. I'll be
Hi,
back on time.
Bernadette.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I can say I'm grateful for life. Could be
Yes,
doing
yes,
better, but I'm glad.
yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Absolutely. Take your time. There we go. Are you on your phone, possibly?
I am. I'm trying to make it a little better.
I was gonna say if there's any way, sometimes if you flip the phone to the like sandwich style, the horizontal angle. There we go. Yes.
And then I'll sit back. Give me 1 second.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I love that top.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I will go ahead and start. I can hear you. Can you hear me well enough?
I can, yes. Give
Okay.
me one. Let
So
me move out of the way.
oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. First, I just want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us about this because this is obviously what happened is almost unbelievable, and it's important to get that and share that with the community. But first, I just want you to walk me through what happened on Tuesday, March 18th.
So Tuesday, March 18th was a typical day. My son Anton always brings his grandmother to work, which she works. She's a 40 plus year retired kindergarten Head Start teacher. So her being at the school, I must say, is a blessing to have someone with that type of experience. But anyway, he brings her to the building at Villa Heights every day. That's her ride. And so, like any other day, between 12 and 12:20, he brings his grandma to the building. Usually, the kind of son I have, he checks in. He's like, "I'll take trash out. You need any shelves put together? Anything before he just leaves." So that particular day, we had good weather, and I told him that we had been outside earlier that morning, and the kids wanted to use the bubble making machine, but it didn't come on. And I asked him to check it. I thought I knew the type of batteries, and we made a little joke about it because he is the tech person. Mind you, graduated at 16 with honors. He's in a presidential book for highest honors in math and science combined in the entire state. He graduated with robot building certificates. So, he and I joke a lot about tech stuff. So he actually went to the machine, which is him, and to make sure that I knew the battery, the type of battery, AA batteries or what have you. So um, I told him in passing in conversation, just let me know, how much it would be because it was a school purchase, and just make sure you get a receipt. And it is nap time, by the way. So the school usually does nap anywhere between 12:45, 1 o'clock, and of course, by Virginia Department of Education standards, the children have to have at least a 2 hour nap. So it is around that time of day. We just finished lunch with the littles. And so we are outside. We, as in me, another teacher, my daughter, who also works there, her husband, and my two grands. So we don't want to be inside chatting because, of course, Anton's grandma is in there with another staff. So we go out and we are just standing in the parking lot. We're not the only ones in the parking lot. There are people using our basketball court. We never shut our gates because we always leave it open. We have people using the playground. So we're not the only cars in the parking lot. Needless to say, I would estimate it's approximately 12:50, 12:51. In usual fashion, I see Anton pull in. Um, I want to tell you that when he gets near where we are, he actually slowly backs his car in, which is what he did. His window was down. And I immediately, as he's getting out, I'm saying, "Hey, you got the receipt? How much was it?" And he's talking to me. He's walking toward me with the batteries. In literal seconds, I see two police officers who had just kind of maneuvered their car in front of my son's car, straight get out, pummel him. They actually slam him into the door of my 4-year-old granddaughter, who starts screaming profusely. So I'm hollering, "Stop, stop, stop." I then, shortly after, hear my son cuff me, because he's now realizing he's being attacked by two uniformed police officers. I watch my son bend down in submissive posture with his hands behind his back. You would think they would just cuff him. They did not. One of the officers with the spider web tattoo on the elbow, he begins to choke my son. I watched this man use his body weight with his arm around my son, press down. All I could do was beg them to stop choking him. Stop what you're doing. I profusely am saying repeatedly, it's a bag of batteries. He was giving me a bag of batteries. He thinking, are you listening to us? He didn't do, and I'm mom. And I will say, because I do advocate work, a lot of restorative justice advocate work, I am very keen on markings on the body that stand out in such a way, like the swastika. People tattoo anything on their body, that's their right. But we look for markings in specific parts of the body. So for me, probably unlike any other community member, I knew exactly what the spiderweb tattoo, specifically when positioned on the elbow, what it means. At least for most people that decide to put it there. I can't explain in words during this interview all of the negative thoughts that I had as a mom, triggering from what we saw happen in broad daylight with George Floyd. I'm a mother standing there, watching this man down, whole body weight and arm wrapped around my son's neck. My son is pushed down into the ground by this man's arm and body weight. You would have thought that once my son was cuffed and being stood up by the officer who's cuffing him, the choking would stop. It doesn't. It doesn't. As my son is being stood up, this officer continues. Now he has his hand, the one arm that his hand is locked, and you can see his facial expression. I'm standing in front of it watching, begging him to stop now this entire time. I'm fearful that he was going to break my son's neck. No lie. No lie. My son is not a large person, and his neck is a very small part of the body. To have somebody's body weight pressure pushed down on them while he's submissive with his back and arms behind his back. This police officer does not let my son's neck go until he is physically tapped on by who I was told name is Detective Bridges. Detective Bridges is the man that you all will see in my release photos of my video wearing the green hoodie and khaki pants. His name, what I was told by Lieutenant Volk, V-O-L-K, of the Roanoke City Department, that was a Detective Bridges. That is when he releases my son's neck. Only when Detective Bridges taps him. They then walk my son to the police car, the Ford Taurus, which is an unmarked police car that they walk him to. I'm following because I've seen this. I've now witnessed them attack him physically. Nothing, no instructions, none that we heard, none. And as you see in my video, which I'm holding my phone, you'll hear my words clearly. They walk him over and there's a knife and a sharp object already in the car where they're trying to place my son. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. My hand, it was somebody texting because I'm on my phone and interrupts. But my son sees the knife. He tells them immediately about the knife and the other sharp object in the back with him. They then get him out. The man in the green hoodie is kind of closer in proximity. He's patting him down. They put him back in and drive off shortly after. We were profusely begging, why? Immediately, when I use the word immediately, I want to give a reasonable time frame. I then went to the magistrate, asked them, did they bring my son in? Because there was no trust. The magistrate informed they had not. I made a few phone calls, want to know why is it taking so long to get him where I figured processing, very familiar with the process, should be. I then called PSU, police, Roanoke City Police, where Lieutenant Volk and I agreed on a time that I would come down and meet face to face. Of course, I'm giving this story from my perspective. I immediately I keep the appointment with Lieutenant Volk. We meet face to face at Roanoke City Police Department, in which I inform Volk I have a complaint about the excessive abuse and attack on my son. No documents were given to me to fill out. Nothing was given to me to sign. But because I'm an advocate, I know what to do. I'll go home and type out my own memorialized account. Since nothing was done about it, I will sign it, I would date it, and I will submit it. When I submitted that complaint, I sent it to all of the city council members I knew. The city manager was included. The PSU unit was included. This is day one. Day two, I'm emailing them written drafts and written formal complaints. I'm only told, as far as response, I can assure you it's being investigated. We'll get back with you. So you can imagine how hurt I was when I saw news media and the public getting footage of something they didn't have any respect to expose. But there's a reason. The truth will reveal when my son leaves the Dollar Tree right off of Hirschberger. My son is behind the unmarked police car. He's behind them. And if anybody is familiar, and this will warrant further investigation and follow up with us, because we want the public to know what the truth is. My son then turns behind that police car on Cove Road, where it's just not them, there's traffic. There's a truck, Brinks, like that security truck that picks up, I guess, important documents and money in the community. They were in the traffic line. Another police car was in the traffic line. This is the truth. My son is behind them. My son then turns on the block off of Cove Road to come to Villa Heights to return the batteries. So when he turns off, he doesn't turn behind the police car. He's by himself. My son doesn't see them again until he's about 100 feet or so from our gated entry. Shame when I saw the footage. You could tell my son is either disturbed from the violent attack or not himself. I know him. He's a person of very few words, and anybody that knows in the community will testify to that. You could see the fear, you could hear the trauma. I even heard my son say that his family told him to get in the car. No, we didn't. Your mom was yelling, but not get back in the car. His mother was saying, stop choking him. Stop. It's a bag of batteries. So clearly something's wrong. And I never said his hearing disability was the reason he didn't hear a command. I just thought it was important that the public understands he was born with a disability. He has a diagnosed neurosensory loss. But if you look at even the footage released, my son was already out of the car, walking toward me with the bag of batteries before you even hear them say anything about staying in a car. You would think you would be smart enough to go to the next instruction, which is lay down, hands up, say something, but do not viciously attack my son, choke my son, cuff my son. After being cuffed, you continue to choke him until you're attacked by a fellow officer. Then if that's not enough, you try to place him in the vehicle with a knife and a sharp object. Of course, my son is paranoid and believes this is a setup. He believes he was targeted. And of course, later I read the statement about there's something happened in January 2025 with the car. The tags are registered to me and my son. I've been living where I live in Gainesboro for years, not planning to relocate. So if you were doing an investigation into a speeding and not stopping, here we are. We've been right there serving the community in good works every day. My son comes to that location every single day, Monday through Friday, to bring his grandmother. I am beyond angry. Words could not express the fear of this man killing or harming my son, which is why I used my voice that day. Not physical violence, but my voice, begging them to stop and listen. Stop. Just stop. And they wouldn't. So that's the facts. That's the truth. All we have is our voice. And that's what I want to share. You know, we've even gave surveillance over to the city. I downloaded the video to preserve it. I used my phone to record the video off of my tablet where we store the videos. You can see clearly on 318, approximately 12:31, my son is checking the bubble machine inside one of the classrooms. The receipt I gave the city. 12:43, he's checking out with $11 and some change worth of batteries. There is no malicious intent. There is no crime. I will tell you about my son in a way that did not get to be exposed with the video I shared that was released that went viral. My son formed a company, small company, years ago called Roller Boys 540. Why? He loves bike riding and being outdoors. He's been doing it forever. My son is a good person, and he was running an errand for me and the community I serve. I started an organization called Community Arts Reach. There's not one event where they can't say, and the public will say, my son is there doing that hard work of setup, takedown, moving things, packing things, and building things. That's who he is. So to paint my son as a criminal that deserved this treatment, it hurts, especially when all you do is bring goodness to your community. And so this is a hard one. And I'm unapologetically angry. I wish I could find sophisticated words, but there are none. When your child is being choked and weight is bear down on their neck, there is no book that teaches you how not to get angry and what words to say. I would like to say that I see myself as a good person. I'm rooted in love. That's why we didn't fight back. We never fight back physically, but we fight back this way. We ask for accountability. We ask for justice. We ask for truth and transparency. So we will not be silenced. It's sad that I had to reach out of my community to a friend who I trusted with my footage, because I know how hard it can be to get the truth out. So this kind of all I can say, all I can offer. Anybody can look it up. You can type in my name. You can type in my organization. I have photos on my site where my son is there. My son holds gaming nights for the young teens. He's done game day where we have space where they just plug up games and they play. He bike rides up. I mean, what? I don't get it. And you know, that's kind of what I want to share.
Bernadette, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I know that I can't even imagine what you were going through as a mom. I just have a few, 2 or 3 follow-up questions. I know you touched on it back towards the beginning, but as a mother, when you see that, when you were there, I mean, what was going through your head? I mean, you can barely even put into words, but I mean, when you watch that happen to your child, who moms are like, their children are their life, they're everything. When you watch that happen, I mean, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that my son's life matters. And I cannot just stand here and allow someone to snatch it in that moment. And so I did intervene. And I know in their world, they call it what, obstruction or intervening. I don't know. And I didn't care. I truly didn't care. So a lot of the public was saying, you should have arrested mom. I guess I would respond, yeah, to stop you from killing my son, you can arrest me. It's just not right that I had to risk my freedom to save my son's life. It shouldn't be that way. But it's the truth of your question. And I was willing to do that. I'm glad I didn't have to, because someone tapped on this man to stop.
And I know that you had mentioned the response from RPD in the city. They released a statement, I believe this morning, nearly over a week and a half after that happened. When you read that statement, what was your response to what they issued, and also just the time it took for them to issue anything regarding the incident?
The truth is, had our side of it, meaning the truth of what I witnessed, not went viral, I would have continued to be ignored. I was involved in obsessive use with Officer Kelsey Horner about a year or so ago that made the front page of the Roanoke Times. They did nothing but write me a letter about the information that couldn't be released to the public of the findings of a personnel. I know the tactics, and I stand by that thought. Had that video not went viral, there would have been no response. It's been a lack of care, even when I begged them in writing to look at these formal complaints. When I went there in person, that was the time that I wanted conversation. I wanted to talk about what was going on. And anything about my son or myself or the car or whatever, we should know. We try to be a healthy part of community, and you want your community to be safe, livable, and accessible. What is going on? Those were reasonable questions that I asked the city, and they ignored every single letter and request until things went viral. And that shouldn't be why you pay attention to your community members. That's not a reason why you should. But we know aesthetics clearly matter more than, I guess, genuinely showing love and care.
Moving forward, what's your message to Roanoke Police, and what action will you be taking?
I demand accountability, and I want to break down what accountability means to me. Accountability is first acknowledging your wrong and your harm. Then you move on to try to make amends, meaning you're building a bridge to stop this erosion of trust. And lastly, you promise this never happens again to anyone else. In no particular order, I'm asking for accountability. I do not speak for my son. I speak for myself, witnessing this happening to my son. My son has lawyers that will guide him in his best interest. But I am mom, and I plan to hold accountability because it's my right.
Do you think that the statement that the city released with RPD, do you think that that was accountability?
Definitely not. Some of their statement I agree with when it comes to saying you want the best interests of the community and your personnel. Uh, yeah, but is your personnel behaving within policy? No. There was no acknowledgement of that. Now, in the opening, they say they're looking for truth. Well, then why did you release a misleading video? This is my cat, and I have a dog here, Oreo. But why did you release such a misleading video? You don't show my son's vehicle, and that's the reason. Stop it. Let's be truthful and transparent, which is what the letter in the opening paragraph said that you're seeking or you're about. Well, the truth would be not to mislead the public. The truth would be to let the public know, hey, this man was behind our car on Hirschberger. This man was behind our vehicle on Cole, which will eliminate your accusation of speeding. Just be honest and stop this foolishness, because that's what it is. It's wasting taxpayer dollars, wasting time coming up with edits and compilations of what? For what? Just stand on the truth. And so I agree with some of the statement they released, but if you're not going to be truthful yourself with the community with what you release, why are you saying that?
Bernadette, is there anything that I didn't touch on or that you didn't get to share that you want the community or you want people to know about this situation?
I have to say it. When I went through obsessive abuse at the hands of law enforcement in a couple of months ago, almost a year or more, I didn't make it go viral. I could have, because I have friends that I work with in civil rights for years. We do this work. I could have, but for the sake of hope, of healing, I didn't expose it. I regret that, because I feel had I exposed it when it happened to me, maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't have to experience it happening all over again to my son or another member of the community. So shame on me for not going public in a sense of making it known to the nation, to the world, what was happening in Roanoke. And again, I could have chose to do that then, but I didn't. I had a cut hand, blood running from my hand. I had injuries that sustained, had to go take me to the hospital that same night. But I was hopeful that things would change. I voted. I supported candidates. I ran the food pantry. I wrote voter, signed people up to vote. I did postcarding. I did everything I could to help make this a safer community. This isn't right. And enough is enough.
Bernadette, is there anything else that you would like to share?
I think I've said enough, related to, the truth of my experience and why this is so important to me and my son, because I've been here before. Not choked and slammed to the ground and pummeled, but I've been abused obsessively, causing injury not long ago.
Well, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And here we are.
Bernadette, thank you so much for speaking with me and walking me through what you went through that day and what your son went through, because I know that that cannot be an easy thing to recount. I don't know if I saw online somewhere probably the surveillance footage from this camera footage from him checking the bubble machine. Is that part of the legal action, or am I allowed to, is there a way you could send me that, or is that not allowed to be, is that part of the case?
I can actually, what I can send you, because I don't want to jeopardize losing it, and it
Right.
is storage. It's like, because it is surveillance within the school, both inside and
True.
out. I don't ever want to touch a thing because I'm not the tech savvy genius.
Right.
However, I was smart enough to take my phone and record it from the tablet.
Okay.
So
Yes.
we send that footage to you, which is timestamped and
Yes.
marked, and it shows intent. To me, when a crime is committed, and I know we just chatting, you have to ask, what was the person doing and why? And that's what he was doing. He checked the bubble making machine. His mom sent him on an errand for batteries, and he brought me the batteries back. I'm sure there's no part of anybody's brain that would think, oh, the police is after me. And you even hear them say, because my son's window was down, I might add, somebody made a comment of either saying he waved us by or he flicked us off. Is this road rage? This is weird. But my son most definitely was behind them up until he's almost at the entry point of our gate at Villa Heights. So I can go on and on about how ridiculous this is being drawn out, and it don't have to be.
Yes. That bubble machine footage would be great because I definitely will use that as part of the story. But I think that that's all the questions that I have. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us about this, because I can only imagine that it's a tough thing for you to have to recount. And you are taking action, right? You have a lawsuit going on currently?
Well, my son has a criminal lawyer, not a
Okay.
public, and he also has a civil lawyer.
Okay.
So I can't tell you exactly the priorities they
Right.
have in his best interest because I'm not a part of that team. I do work as an advocate, and I did offer kind of what I packaged to show there's no malicious intent. There is nothing there. I did offer that to his legal team, and still, like I told you, packaging things for preservation. So in doing this work, I knew the importance of having receipts, showing intent, saving and preserving footage and things, and knowing to record. Because had I not recorded and the public only relied on the police video, you would have never seen what I saw from my perspective. It never would have been known to the world. So thank you for technology.
Thank you so much again. If you want to email me, now that you have my email, if you just want to email me the video that you took from your phone of the security, I can get it easily from there. But is there anything else that you want to say before I let you go?
Just thank you. I hope you all will, share as much as you can with your viewers, and people need to understand. My main thing is, what good is court if somebody is a criminal, if they don't make it there? The whole thing needs to be addressed. But one day we think we'll see things good, because better has never been good.
Bernadette, thank you so much again for taking the time out of your afternoon to speak with me. Is there anything else before I let you go?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you. You have a great rest of the day, ma'am. Bye.
Bye-bye.